The Immersion Rc Vortex 150. Super stoked this has finally arrived. I did the pre-order, so it took a little bit, but I've been looking for a mini quad that I can fly around at the parks and not be too worried about it. It's under the 250 gram mark, so everybody in the USA doesn't have to worry about registration, and that's even with a 4-cell battery. When it showed up, man, is it small. The box is the size of my hand. It's tiny. Super excited about it from Horizon Hobby. It's the Binf and Fly Spectrum version. It goes through, so it's race ready. You can hook it up. You don't have to hook it up to a computer. You can just plug it in, do all the steps right through your goggles. I'm going to go through that with you and make sure you know how it works. But let's crack it open. Let's take a look what's in the box. Right off the bat, you got 2 sets of props. So if you like to push your boundaries, kind of like I do, you probably need a second set. Get a couple more on order. They're like 30-40 tri-blades. Comes with your mini circular polarized antenna, a couple of rubber bands for your batteries, charged and discharged, and a couple of extra cables, looks like, if you want to put a different receiver or anything in it. I ordered mine with the Spectrum Binf and Fly, so I don't need those. And there's a little unit. Just tiny. So stoked about it. Anything else in the box? There's a couple little things in there. It's got the Immersion RC card. Like them on Facebook. Check out their Facebook page. I got tons of stuff on there. A couple of stickers and instruction manual with like 10 different languages. It's pretty basic. This thing is just plug in and follow the steps. So if you've ever set up a quad before, you're probably not even going to need this. They've made it so intuitive just to hook it up and go. So I was so excited. I've spent so many hours building these things. I was looking forward to one that's Binf and Fly. It's just already pre-tuned and away you go. Set it up, get out in the park. You'll be out there in 5 minutes with this thing. First couple things I noticed when I opened up the box is it's so sturdy. It's well built. It's got little 1306 motors on it. Plenty for a little tiny quad like this. It's so light. LEDs in the back. We got 4 LEDs. You can change them through the OSD. You can change the colors. Built-in transmitter. And it's adjustable power, so you can do it from 25 milliwatts to, I believe, 350 or 600 milliwatts. They use the PCB board as part of the bottom chassis to make it a little bit lighter by taking advantage of its rigidness. Got my dual antennas for my diversity spectrum receiver there. But my most exciting part about this thing is a full-size camera on a little tiny quad. Can't stand the little cameras, don't have a lot of good dynamic range. So this is a Fat Shark 600 TV line camera. It's supposed to be really good going from shady trees to sunny areas. You don't have to worry about getting blackout for a quick second there. You just plug in or twist on your antenna, and we're going to plug in our battery and go through the setup wizard here. So I'll grab my goggles and we'll put these on, plug a battery in, get ready to bind it. So the Spectrum version, you'll see if you look in the back of the quad, it's going to start flashing a yellow light at you, letting you know that the receiver is ready to bind. So then when you turn on your transmitter, go down into your settings, we're going to put it into bind mode, get everything set up, and going through my Spectrum receiver DX6i. So we'll get it set up, hit bind, and it should pop up. Quick second. There we go, so we're bound. One thing that threw me off too was, well, we'll get to that part later on, but it doesn't tell you in the instructions how to go into your OSD setup or how to disarm or arm it. So I'll go through that a little bit later. But now you just follow the transmitter setup. So center your control, throttle all the way up to the middle. You're going to use your right control, so your roll, and go all the way to the left and hold. Now move it to the opposite direction. Hold. Return it to neutral. Move your yaw, so your left stick over to the left and hold. To the right and hold. Return it to neutral. Move the throttle all the way down. Hold. All the way up. Hold. Back down to center. And then your pitch, which is your right stick. Down. And then all the way up. Forward. Hold. Back to neutral. And then your left stick, so your throttle, back and left. Hold. Return it to center. Now this part's crucial. I never did it the first time, so you got to make sure you put it on flat ground. So put it on your floor, maybe. Make sure it's nice and level, because this is gonna set your level for your quad. So when it's flying, this is what it's going to know as level. So put it down on a nice level ground. You're going to hold your right stick back. And as soon as we get, sorry, putting it down on the ground, making sure it's nice and level. Hold it down, return it back to neutral. That's all set up and done. That's pretty much ready to fly. But I'll go through a little bit with you. So we'll go through the OSD a little bit and just show you kind of where a couple things are. So now it's in disarmed mode. You'll have to set up, so it sets your fist channel as your angle, horizon, or acro mode. But if you take your throttle stick down and to the left, you'll go into your OSD. We can go down through the different options down into LED mode. So you can change it if you want to blink, if you want it fixed, if you want different colors. You can do it all through the OSD. And this is just looking through my goggles. I'm recording this off my Fat Shark goggles right now. You can go through, turn it on and off, using your right stick to enter or exit different things. So all kinds of fun things we can do with the LEDs in the back, especially if you like racing. Video transmitter. You can go through. Sorry, backed out there by accident. So go down a video transmitter to the right. This is where you'll come in. Sorry, I forgot to mention too. So when you turn the quad on, it's going to be for Fat Shark Channel 1. So if you guys use something else, you'll have to go in and actually try to change that without seeing it. So that might be plugging into the computer and changing it there. You can change your OSD, your margins, units, metric, telemetry, pack capacity. So it gives you warnings on the screen of when you're going to run out, how close you are. Beeper frequency, which is nice because you can change how loud you want the beeper. So if you want it at a higher hertz, so it's a little bit sharper, so you'll hear it at a distance. Kind of like mine a little bit dull because it is going to go off anytime you bring it down and put your throttle all the way down before you disarm. It will start chirping at you. But you can turn it up there if you want it a little bit louder, a little bit more ear piercing. But I'll keep mine down at 3100. Back out. You can go through camera setup and everything inside here. But we're going to go on. Now to arm and disarm, you're going to go down with your throttle down and hold to the right. It takes about 2 seconds to arm. And then to disarm, down with your throttle and over to the left and hold for about 2 seconds and it'll disarm. And forgot to tell you beforehand, but never put your props on before you do that. I've had a quad hit the roof before when I was trying to fiddle with things and set them up because I didn't take my props off. So do follow when it tells you and make sure props are off. That's one thing I can recommend. When you're putting your props on too, you always want the angles so that you're going to spin in towards each other. You always want it angled when they're facing each other away from the quad. So you'll put that one, that one's going to spin. And then you're going to spin in towards each other. So you want the angles coming up like that away from the quad. And the same thing on the other side. So we'll put those all on there. Same thing here. Make sure your writing's up. Let's put 30-40 up. And same thing again, so they're angled away and up from the quad. We're going to put on our screws, getting her all tightened up. And then we're going to get to the fun part. We're going to get out there and go flying. Try see what this thing can do. If you guys have already got one of these things, you know there's a ton of pull. I was actually really surprised when I actually got it out in the field and took it for a good run. They've been a ton of fun. One of the best investments I've made on a quad yet. That's pretty much it. So let's tighten these up and let's get out there. This little quad's just got a ton of power. PIDs feel real dialed in. Feels really responsive. I'm just playing around in horizon mode a little bit until I get used to it. I had to turn up my my expo a little bit. It felt really snappy without it, so I put it up to about 40%. But it just flips around. I mean, this thing's, I'm running on 1000 mAh 4-cell right now, so I'm way overweight for what they recommend. They recommend between a 500 and 850. But I had some 1000 mAhs sitting around, so I decided to try and take advantage of them, but it handles it like nothing. I thought it might be a little bit of a heavy pig with the extra battery weight on there, but she's still tight in the corners. It's got lots of punch. It flips, rolls. It's locked in. Super impressed with the way it flies. A couple more batteries on here. Throw it in acro, and then we'll have some real fun. Would definitely recommend this quad to anybody. It flies just like my 250s, but in a lot smaller version. But to everybody, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you guys soon.